Here today, there's a new time is running out. Where do you see the talks? Where do you see UK at the end of this period, at the end of the year? Secretary of State.
Well, the Prime Minister has been very clear on this, which is that we're now preparing to leave on Australia terms, so WTO plus some sort of additional measures. But of course, ultimately, this is up to the European Union. We've always been very clear that we want to leave on a Canada-style trade deal. That is something that the EU has with other friendly nations. That's what we want. But it was pretty clear on Thursday that actually that's not the direction it was going on. And that's why the Prime Minister said, unless the EU substantially change their approach to this and we get into the detailed legal text and negotiations...
What's the difference between an Australia deal and a no deal? We already have a deal, of course, because we've got a withdrawal agreement. No, but going forward.
Well, we're going forward. So,
what would be the difference between an Australia deal and a no deal, Secretary of State?
The Australia deal is the deal that you have with countries where you're predominantly working on a sort of WTO basis. So
it's a no deal.
Depends. You can use the phrase no deal, but the point is that it is a deal.
I wonder why we keep hearing Australia deal, because I don't see any point of distinction between Australia deal and no deal.
Again, it's...
Let me do it another way. There is no difference.
Well, Nick, so again...
Persuade me otherwise.
It's a question of semantics at the end of the day, sure, but what I'm saying to you is that...
We've got the future of this nation, and it's resting on semantics. That's a bit worrying, isn't it?
There are two very clear approaches. There are two very clear approaches to this. We can either go down the route of doing the sort of arrangement that the EU has with Australia. The other is that we can do it down the Canada route. Now, that's been our preference. That's what we have said. But ultimately, we have to prepare. And, in terms of the...
But there is no difference, is there, between no deal and Australia?
Can I address this point about what happens in terms of the end of the year? So I completely understand that businesses have been preparing. We want businesses that have not yet had a chance to do that to do so. So we're launching more sort of campaigns to ensure that people are informed. You can go to gov.uk transition to see what changes you need to make. And we are proactively now talking to businesses to ensure that they understand what they need to prepare for. It doesn't matter whether we go under Australia style or Canada style.
Well, no, Australia is no
there are
deal.
going to be changes.
We should stop saying Australia, shouldn't we? Because
no, I don't think we should stop saying Australia. People. Well, Nick, people will understand very clearly what that means.
What if you can't tell them why?
Well, I'm telling you that it is on...
Sorry, if the Secretary of State for Business can't tell the difference between Australia and no deal, why should my listeners?
Nick, so as I said to you, you can either go down a WTO route, or you can go down the route...
Otherwise known as Australia?
Well, yes.
Okay.
Otherwise, you can go down the route of Canada, which is where we want to get to.